So this is not like they were out.
Like bare minimum, every blue governor and every blue mayor should refuse to cooperate with the federal government and should order their police to protect the citizens.
And what should come out of this. But when you do an investigation like this, what precipitated it? Were there more things there? What are we missing? We're not getting to see any of that. And the gaslighting of us to say, look, we're not very good at handling stuff on the streets where we murder your people, but we'll handle the investigation like true professionals. They don't even have a crime lab. And here's what's telling, and I hope, your viewers get this. The FBI is not involved in this because they wouldn't even touch it. They knew this was such a horrible thing. It's not that the FBI is collaborating with DHS. The FBI is just saying, not on us. This is terrible.
DHS is their own little internal HSI that's doing this stuff.
Yes.
So here's my thing, though, about not knowing who killed Alex Freddie. Like, you can't have reconciliation without transparency. I don't understand that people of Minnesota can accept the word of this administration about how they're going to change their tactics. They don't tell us what happened. Me and you, the taxpayers pay those agents that were in the streets of Minnesota.
Yes.
And you cannot have public servants anonymous and masked and murdering our fellow Americans. Like, it's unacceptable. We have to know who did it, and we have to have an independent investigation. The fact that they haven't even told the governor of Minnesota who did this is insane.
Yeah, and we don't know where they're at. I'm assuming they're out of state. Look, I know this is going to be a tough one for folks, and I don't know if it's the direct analogy on this is, but the egregious harm that has been done directly to Minnesota, but by the rest of the country by this is I don't see how you end this without some type of truth and reconciliation, like we saw in South Africa after some of this stuff. I can't express to people just how horrific this is to have these folks on the streets in their masks. And Tim, just for the contrast of this, that good policing, and we dealt with this after the murder of George Floyd, good policing is building trust. All that stuff you saw at the Whipple building, the federal building where Bovino had his headquarters and stuff, every day you saw these guys rushing out and yelling and throwing smoke canisters, whatever. We got them out of there. And when the National Guard came in, what you saw yesterday was unmasked professionals from our state handing out hot chocolate, coffee, and donuts. And now the protesters today are asking us if they can deliver homemade food back to the National Guard, who are out there cold too. And there's a
anytime I even get remotely hopeful, these guys, I mean, the people that were saying like y'all got duped, this was like the same like Operation Win Hearts and Minds that like they did in the Iraqi counterinsurgency initiative and the global war on terror and the illegal occupation of Iraq. It feels like they were right. Like if they're deploying the National Guard and then now they're going to suppress the inevitable pushback that comes, then yeah, all of that winning hearts and minds with is fucking fake.
Relationship. And the Guard knows that those people have the right to sit there and protest and do whatever they need. That change is just so dramatic. So my hope is that Holman gets that. But I'm with you, Tim. If they think we're not bringing these folks back and having, if it goes through the process, the grand jury says, let's indict them, they should come back here. Derek Chauvin's sitting in prison because he murdered George Floyd. And I'm not on the jury and I don't want to taint this thing, but I'm telling you, we're going to do a full investigation. And if the folks.
What do you expect them to do? Fight the federal government with violence? Yes. Yes. I already told you. Yes. Deploy the police force, command the police force to defend the protesters and become a fucking nuisance to any ICE agent that's trying to do a raid. Trespass them. Tell the public that they can call the cops, the local cops, and the state police whenever there is an ICE agent that is in their neighborhood and they feel threatened. Maintain a presence of law and order with the same exact police posture. If there is not enough police officers to be able to be an ever-present force that protects the population, utilize the National Guard that you've already deployed to have additional units at your disposal. I know when people say there's only 600 cops in Minneapolis. Yeah, brother, 600 cops, but thousands of fucking National Guardsmen. Like, if this is an existential crisis, okay, if this is an existential crisis, you can deputize citizens. You can also, I mean, you don't even have to do that, though. You can send in National Guard. Send in the National Guard alongside the local law enforcement to beef up the numbers. Because at the end of the day, these guys only respond to force. They're fucking pussies. That's why they can dominate old ladies. But if the people that they're trying to dominate are actually local law enforcement with gear, they're not going to play the same game. It's crazy. And especially when, like, this is the demand of the population. It seems like a last resort because it's a necessity. I can't believe we as a country go from labor unions arming miners after the Ludlow massacre to we hope the bad guys go away. Yeah. Also, yeah, when people say there are only 600 cops, what's the assumption that ICE will shoot the cops? Yeah. I don't think ICE is going to shoot the cops. Telling people to call the cops pigs flying today, I'm just saying that is what a competent state and local administrator would demand. Okay? I'm not saying that they're doing that. They're very clearly not doing that. But when you ask me, like, what's the alternative here? I'm giving you the alternative. I'm giving you what an actual governor who cares about the safety and security of his citizens would do. It's not like Greg Abbott has shied away from invoking a constitutional crisis. In that situation, Greg Abbott won because Biden was too pussy to do anything about it. You have to meet force with force. That's it. Do you understand? Greg Abbott did this already. He showed the power that a governor has. He literally trafficked people. Kaya, you have to move out of there. Get out. Kaya, up. Get away from there. Go. Get away from there. I'm going to accidentally... Get down. Come here. Kaya. Down. Get down. No. Stay right there. She better listen or else. Yeah, I'm going to zap out of her. I'm actually zapping her right now. Uh-oh, here comes the Clipper streamers. Yeah, dude. Clippers are going to clip that I don't want to step over my dog because she consistently tries to stay directly underneath my wheels of my chair. Something that no dog owner has ever experienced, of course. Anyway, what were we? Yeah, she's tail smash maxing. I would literally die if I accidentally wheeled over her tail. I would kill myself, okay? In a video game. So that is what I'm trying to avoid. And that is a future that she is desperately trying to live in. Put a mini fence around your desk, man. Yeah, that's stupid.
Who did this, which you saw with your eyes, they need to be held accountable. And they're not getting out of this.
Has that investigation started?
Our side is we're doing what we can do. We were able to get out there the next day. We being the BCA, we're gathering evidence. The same thing with Renee Good, and the Hennepin County prosecutor is working on this. The Attorney General is doing it, and we will do this, and we do it well. I think these folks think somehow, they're getting out of this. Let's say they stall us for 3 years. They're still coming back. We're still going to find out who it is, and there's still going to be, because if you don't, that's foundational to our democracy. We lose it all if we don't do it.
Yeah, it's a free country, right? And people that work for the government, this. Look, I get frustrated when you hear from the other side them saying, well, they have received threats and they've been doxxed. And I don't support threats. I don't support doxing. I know you don't. But you've received threats. You've received doxing. Judges have. Your police officers have. And, they're transparent. and they show their face and they show their name.
My best friend and Speaker of the House was murdered over political issues here earlier in the summer. And I tell, your listeners to understand the trauma in Minnesota, I can't even explain it to you. To have our most popular politician murdered with her and her husband and her dog over someone that has a...
We are the good Gestapo, trust us, is literally the Wehrmacht versus SS argument. Yeah, clean Wehrmacht myth. But happening in real time when we can literally see the Wehrmacht not being clean at all.
Diatribe over abortion. And then for Republicans to somehow say, oh, maybe the governor's behind this. What is Kristi Noem's first thing on this is? This is on the governor. He talked him into this. Look, they are running this stuff up in their reality, but they came up against what democracy looks like. I think they thought they could steamroll this. I think they thought that they would get weak resistance or they would try and provoke violence. Neither of those things happened. And look, in a world where it's really hard, Tim, to find, some hope and optimism on this, people of Minnesota won this thing in 40 below winter, at least won this first battle. I want to be very careful. Nothing has changed here. As far as I know, they're still out on the streets. We'll see today. And we'll see if Tom Homan changes the entire approach to what they're doing.
Amen to that on the peaceful protests, by the way. They want to drive.
So you got nothing. You just got assurances. You just got a promise from a guy you've been calling a fascist dictator for like the last month. For good reason, by the way. Like when you say people in Minnesota are scared, they're like Anne Frank. And then the next day you call up the Nazi administrators and you tell them, oh, as long as we do this privately, as long as we do this like as quietly as possible, it's fine. You're basically saying like, no, it's all right that Anne Frank was getting deported. Like, come on now. What leverage could he use? I already explained it. Lean into the population, man. This is the demands of the streets. I was there. Seen it. Hello? You saw it too. If you watched, I asked the people on the ground. I said, what do you want from Tim Walz? Are you happy with what he's doing? And they said, no. Is there some more powerful rhetoric that could be used? Yeah, that's all it stands. That's what it is. Yeah, he should be more, I think. He should be saying the F word more. He's only upped it to the level of saying this. He should just start saying slurs, actually. He should just call Trump slurs.
And just unbelievable bravery. And I'm so proud of your citizens.
Me too. And I'll tell you how proud I am. I'll tell you, if anybody deserves a Nobel Peace Prize, it's the people of Minnesota. That's very clear.
I want to ask you about a couple of phone calls you've had to have. None of them pleasant, I assume. First, with the president. He said in his statement that you guys are on a similar wavelength. Wondering if you agree with that and what the phone call is like.
Well, look, and I will just say, and I've got a good team around me. You can imagine, Tim, I am furious. I'm angry. I'm trying to contain my emotions on this. And I told the president that this has got to end. And I think when he thinks on the wavelength,
he's angry,
says,
guys.
Yeah,
you won't like it when he's angry. Okay.
I agree this has to end. Now, I don't actually know what his end state looks like compared to my end state, but we both agree that this needs to end. And then, he was quoting statistics and he said, well, we've already pulled 13.
Bro, Democrats in power unironically act like they're Twitch streamers or something. they're always doing like, well, someone's got to do something about this. It's like, you're the someone. I'm supposed to say someone's got to do something about this because I have no power. I'm a Twitch streamer. You're the goddamn governor. You command your own military. What do you mean someone's got to do something about this? Shucks, we're really trying to find a guy in power to do the right thing here. Oh, don't you know? You don't understand that Tim Walz is creating an alliance with the State Department because he cares about his people. Yeah, exactly. The Democrats are Neville Chamberlain in party form is correct. It's always appeasement.
15,000. Our local media has done a wonderful job of this. All of these are lies. Tim, they're putting up pictures of some of the worst of the worst. The one that they're bragging about, we arrested him and he was in a Minnesota prison for years and we handed him over to them. So this is not like they were out.
Like bare minimum, every blue governor and every blue mayor should refuse to cooperate with the federal government and should order their police to protect the citizens and should basically tell the citizens, you can call the police. The police will the police will work in line with your interests. If you call the cops, if you see something, say something. You call the cops when you see random cars with masked people inside of them and you feel threatened, you can call the cops. You can trespass people that are trying to unlawfully enter your home. Do you understand? I'm not even saying like reinvent the wheel here. I'm saying like you can create a system by using existing statutes or even writing new statutes to turn around and make the federal government's tyranny as difficult as possible, okay? That's what I am saying. I'm not saying like tell the cops to go out and shoot ICE agents or something, okay? That's insane. That's not my argument. What I'm simply saying is do the law, do law and order. If the federal government is utilizing its Gestapo rogue agency in a way where you are threatening the average citizens when they can't go outside, they can't go to school, they can't go to the mall because they're terrified that they're going to be harassed by this unaccountable force of murderers, then tell the population that the cops are on their side and that you are directing state officials and state law enforcement and local law enforcement to go and defend the population. The state and localities should not be seen as an oppositional force here against the interests of the public. They should be working hand in hand. They should be working side by side. That's what it would look like if roles were reversed and there was like, I don't know, a Democratic administration that was doing something similar. I can't even imagine how that would work. Like maybe during vaccines or something when if Joe Biden was like, we are by force going door to door to inoculate every single citizen that refuses to get inoculated. Like, what do you think that would have happened? What do you think? How do you think that would have gone? How do you think that would have worked in a red state? Governor Greg Abbott would be like, I'm literally putting the National Guard on high alert. We're going to start shooting. We're going to start shooting anyone that tries to do inoculations. Okay. What do you mean? That's literally how it happened in their mind. Okay. Well, that's not what happened though. Okay. Sometimes I just wish that the Democrats would do politics in the same way that Republicans do, right? But the problem is Democrats don't do politics the way that Republicans do. They don't game the system in the way that Republicans do. And they instead hear me, I guess, and decide, oh, you want us to do policy in line with the Republican agenda. No. I'm not saying that at all. I'm saying play the game of politics like Republicans do. Engineer outcomes that you desire. Oh, my God. Engineer desirable outcomes in the way that Republicans do all the time. You're asking the Washington Generals to play like the Globetrotters? Yeah. Or at least like the Wizards, you know?
We raided a house and found this deep criminal. So I'm trying to tell him, I said, Mr. President, you're getting really bad advice. And as far as detainers go, meaning you have someone in a prison here. We have about 8,000, one of the lowest incarceration rates in the country. And of those 8,000, 207 are not documented. We're more than happy, and we always do, if there's a detainer. When they get time to be released from our prisons, we always, and have for decades.
The Wizards suck? Yeah, I know. That's why I use them as an example. Because while the Wizards suck, they're at least still a competent team as opposed to the Washington Generals, which is fake and supposed to lose all the time. Okay? So from a Washington Generals to a Washington Wizards situation, you at least have a real team rather than controlled opposition that's always supposed to lose. Why am I autistically explaining every joke attempt here? Competent is a strong word. Okay. Oh my God. Okay.
Alert ICE to come pick them up. But what you saw this week is we had a rural conservative county and a sheriff had a guy that was in his jail, served his time. There is no legal way to hold him further. So he did what he has the authority to do. He's not a sanctuary county. He called ICE and said, come pick him up. They said, we can't. We're busy in Minneapolis. And so the absurdity of this, you had someone who shouldn't be here, and we can all agree that if you are a criminal and shouldn't be here, we should process you for that. We agree with that. Minnesotans agree with that. They didn't show up because they were busy harassing people like Alex, and it's just ludicrous.
I saw some of the conservatives I follow online. Their response to that is, well, that's not true about Hennepin County and Minneapolis, St. Paul, corrections facilities. They're not cooperating the same way these other ones are. Is that what's your response?
It is different on those, that on the retainers that they're not. But I will say this: they are following the law. And what gets mixed up in this is that they say, oh, the fake straw man. You just don't care about security and you want some, and then they bring it up of where an undocumented person committed a crime. None of us want those folks here, but a lot of these folks are in there on misdemeanors. And again, immigration issues are civil. And so a lot of times these counties are not going to hold them extra time. A lot of the things they come to me is they want us to do their job. I'm not going to do your job. And the one thing you've seen in this is you have to have trust in the community. If we were out there acting like they act, we would never have any cooperation with our citizens of getting things done. So the counties do have their ability. We don't. They have their own sovereignty. If there's a state law passed that doesn't allow that to happen, we can have that conversation, but that's not how it works. This is local democracy. The same way I don't tell these conservative counties that they can't cooperate. They can.
Yeah. The Trump call had to be pretty weird though, right?
Yeah, I think so. Look, I mean, here's what's weird about it, Tim, is that he knows you have to work together, but it is a strange thing as an individual human being. He calls me the R word.
Do you consider... He calls me the R word. Do you consider Dems controlled opposition? I know the Democrats are controlled opposition. I want them to stop being controlled opposition. I want them to meet the moment. Why do you keep ascribing motivation to the Democrats that they don't have? It's like expecting companies to not try to make money. Because, number one, there are a lot of self-identifying liberals and Democrats in this chat. This exhausts the contradictions and makes it impossible not to notice that they are, without a shred of doubt, controlled opposition here. Okay, that's number one. That's the number one purpose of this. And the number two purpose of this is because I'm desperate. Okay, I'm desperate. I'm desperate for change, as many people are. And that's precisely the reason why I keep saying, come on, do something, do something, do something, do something. Because if they don't, there's no other alternative. Okay, I'm not wish casting in this situation. I'm basically saying this is what would be the best possible thing to do. And if they're not doing it, then, do with that information what you will. Learn the lesson that you must. Okay?
He says, he makes up things.
Hasan, it is January. The midterms are in 10 months. Stop criticizing the Democrats or the Dems are going to lose. I know. Zoran will be out there boxing Tom Homan. I don't know how Zoran would do. I don't know what Zoran would do in a similar predicament. I really am worried that he would, if he pulled Jacob Fry, Tim Walz, I would probably die, dude. I would perish on the spot. And I'm going to be honest. I don't know. I don't know if he would be able to pull off anything. Oh, I'm in the shower. Nice, dude. Get your dick out of your hand. That's nasty. Chatter. Democrats actually do want to win. What do you mean by controlled opposition? Democrats consistently won the popular vote before the last bad election. Oh my God. Oh my God. Neek Skit is back, dude. And better than ever before. Okay. Better than ever before. It's true. Please, Hasan. Oh, really? They do, huh? That's interesting. Because they're not acting like it. What has led you to believe that they actually are operating like a party that wants to win election? Hutch, is that you ball? No, this is my very own liberal. This is my very own liberal pet. This is the exact person I'm talking about when I say someone who is a libtard, okay? I saw Tim Walz send the guard yesterday, and I was so hopeful. Okay, well, now you're seeing Tim Walz today. Okay? Now you're seeing Tim Walz